Welcome back to 365 Unlimited. We are back with another interview. Excited to sit down with the one and only, our sponsor, Joe from Not Vintage. We are excited to chop it up with him, learn about his story. And we've had a lot of questions. I know both sides, Gannon and myself. How did we meet, Joe? How did we get involved with Not Vintage? How did we just kind of connect overall? And it's a great story. We were excited to be able to get in connection with him, and he's doing great things with his brand in itself. And I know some great things are coming for him. But before we dive into his story and learn a little bit more about him, continue to like, view, and subscribe all of our videos. We appreciate the constant feedback. It means the world to us. We learn a ton about ourselves. We learn what we can improve on, and we learn what other stories we should be searching for. Continue to do that for us. We appreciate it. Check out our three sponsors, Driftless Quality Wear, Bocker Auto Group, and he's in the building himself, Not Vintage. Got Gannon and Joe repping the t-shirts. I forgot mine at school. That's on me, bro. My bad. Forgot mine.
This guy.
Came home for, snowstorm. I've been home. We got like 5, 6, maybe 7 almost inches of snow, so I'm back at home. But yeah, check out
Excuses.
use the code 365U for 10% off any purchase at the checkout. Use that code. I know the t-shirts are fire. You can see that, for example, with the shirts that they're wearing tonight. We got what do we got? Javante Davis.
Tank,
we got
baby.
Tank
Come on,
Davis
man. Let
shirt.
me stand up. Give him a whole
Okay.
little
There we
full
go.
rundown. Yo.
Check out the website. It'll be in the description. It's in our bio. It's everywhere. Just go check it out and see if there's anything you like. All right, Gannon. Let's rock with it.
Yeah, you kind of hit on that a little bit, or just how we got interacted with Joe and everything like that. We'll hit on that throughout this interview and everything going forward. But man, just who is Joe? Who is Not Vintage? Just kind of everything about it real quick before we dive into some basics or some specifics. Give us some basics real quick.
So basically, I'm from Staten Island, New York City. It's like the forgotten borough. Not that many people know about Staten Island. It's the only borough that doesn't really look like the city itself. Kind of looks more like Jersey. I've been playing football probably since I was around 5 years old. Played high school, traveled out to Jersey at Bergen Catholic, and then I ended up going to play D3 for a couple of years. Came home, started working for a little bit. Didn't really know what I wanted to do for a while. Was always trying around, dabbling a lot of things. I've been using Photoshop and graphic probably since 15. Let me see something. You guys can still see me?
Yes, sir.
My bad, sorry, Paul. I've been doing graphic design probably since I was like 16 years old. And then this is probably June of 2022 was the first time I started getting paid to start doing graphic design work. And then I think around that time, Kenny Yeboah, he's a tight end for the Jets, reached out. That was the first NFL player that I've actually got in contact with, made about 15 shirts for him. And the rest is kind of history. Usually about every other couple of days, I get a few DMs for new players.
That's awesome. I mean, I know it's crazy. We talk about connecting with you, and I know what kind of happened for me was I saw the work that Malik Hooker reposted on his story of Not Vintage. At the time, obviously, I had no idea what it was, what it consisted of, what was all entailed within it. And of course, like, you see something that sticks out to you, you're going to click on it. And social media is great in that aspect. And I clicked on Not Vintage, did some looking, and what I thought I saw was fire. And so I remember I sent Joe a DM. Literally like the next day or maybe even 2 days later, we hopped on a phone call, me, Gannon, and Joe. About 2-hour phone call, 2.5 hours. We just straight chopped it up. And that's something.
Yeah, it was awesome. As
Oh,
soon as I got home from school, like literally dropped the bags, told my parents I got to take this call, and then it was.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, like doing something like that with media, like the fact that you can interconnect with people is special. And so we talk about that happening for us, but before we dive into that whole story, I want to ask you, like, explain to our audience, those who don't know, what is Not Vintage in itself? What's the concept behind it? What is everything that you're trying to do with it? And just kind of a general wrap up of what Not Vintage is.
So, like, in the beginning, when I first started this, I'm a diehard Jet fan. So I started making Jet gear because I really couldn't find tees or anything that I liked. A lot of friends on Staten Island actually wanted a few T-shirts, so I started doing that route. As I was getting bigger and bigger, the first name actually was called JM Vintage. my initials. And I went to a vintage shop because I thrift a lot and I resell. And I was talking to the owner there, and he was like, "Just a heads up, like you can get a little bit of trouble for that." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" He was like, "Your name kind of implies that you have vintage clothes and you're selling vintage clothes." So I was like, kind of like, "Damn, I have to switch that up." So literally, I wanted to make my clothes look aesthetically vintage, but they're not vintage, and then kind of not vintage, kind of like the wordplay kind of came that day, and threw a little bit of twist on it, like kind of spelling it like a knot, and ever since then I've been running it. Probably since September I've been not vintage. And then everything kind of like kind of the term I go by, because they're kind of like heavyweight blanks. They're kind of heavy. So I do luxury heavyweight tees, but like the real term, it's called bootleg tees. It's kind of making a shirt look like it was from the 90s or the early 2000s, meanwhile it's being printed today.
I just kind of want to talk about, you ran over a little bit, just your quick overlay there when I asked you about just not and everything going that direction. But just the time of this, like the evolution of how quick it's been, like it's pretty much your first full football season selling shirts, and just how quick everybody's got in contact, and just kind of talk about that and your own, like, because I remember you even said that on the call, just like, damn, like, wow, like how quick this is popping off people's names. Like, I mean, shoot, bro, look at the Super Bowl parade. I was watching it with my roommate here in the living room the other day, and then I kind of saw that in the distance, and I was like, that kind of looked like a shirt, the anything possible shirt, and then, you know, next thing you know, 2 hours later it's on social media. I mean, it's just little things like that. Like, that's cool seeing it, but like for you, I want to hear like your own thoughts on it.
Like for me, like the whole, so like I got the LLC in September is when I like became the full business, but I was like under different names. I was JM Design, JM Vintage, all these same Instagram account, graphic design work. And I was doing that for a while, and I probably from May till about June out, or like, yeah, June or to July, I was literally posting a shirt every single day without making a sale, not having a website, just kind of grow the Instagram a little bit. And I was getting a lot of compliments to people coming to my other job that I work out in person, talking to me about them. And all I kept on saying was like, I just need one player. I just need one player. I just need one player. That one player ended up being Kenny Yeboah, like I said before, from the Jets. And then fast forward, not even half a year, and like you guys said, like Mahomes wins MVP the next day, him and the 4 quarterbacks in that room are wearing it, which for me, I'm still in shock about that. You know what I mean? Like, it's been 6 months. I thought like
It was so quick too.
every single day there's a like, it's very easy to fall like behind. Like that I'm noticing. Like if I take one day off, I'm like, oh, like damn, I gotta print 20 shirts today now. But it's a good type of stress. So you know what I mean? Like it's something, you know, I'm building a brand right now. Now that it's getting bigger and bigger, like what I want to focus on is NIL. And there's a few things that I actually have in the works with a college player that's going to go to the combine, and then a player from Minnesota who's staying to return. So we're going to do some NIL work through them. It's going to be like my first time actually doing that. We'll see how that kind of goes, but kind of how fast everything's rolling, I wasn't really expecting that at all. I remember one of my friends, kind of, I used to play Xbox a lot in the party, hit me up the other night and was kind of jokingly saying like, damn, like you kind of inspired, saying like you used to kind of say all the time jokingly, like I'm going to have Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, like the big names in the NFL rocking, not vintage. And the best week of all, Super Bowl, you know what I mean? Like he's rocking it after the NFL honors. It's kind of insane to me still, but you know,
well, I'm sitting here smiling just at the fact, like I know just us connecting,
awesome.
just because obviously I haven't been a part of it or heard like you before we got in contact, but like since we've been in contact, being able to see the social media growth, being able to see more and more players wearing the stuff. I know even the DeMar Hamlin one, the T-shirt that was created, Harrison Phillips wearing that, like that in itself was awesome. Got reposted to the Vikings page on social media. Obviously, that the sucky part about it is not getting the tag. I mean, you'd love to get the tag in that situation.
Yeah.
Off in that last night, like it's fun, it's cool, but like Pat, I was looking at it. I think he gained like 400,000 followers since they won the Super Bowl. And I'm like, oh my god! Like only like I can only imagine like 5% if I like, you know what I mean, a little tag,
Yeah.
Just a little.
huge. But I'm still thankful to even see, like, you know what I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're at like 7, 8 months ago, if I were to say like, yeah, I'm gonna have Pat Mahomes pointing at my T-shirt, you know, Super Bowl parade, rocking that vintage, I'd probably laugh at my own self.
Oh
Which is-
yeah, it's bro. Like we just even from the conversation we had on the phone, I could tell like you've always had a business like open mindset. With starting this brand, starting Not Vintage, the evolution of it up into where it's at now. how do you feel like your mindset has has grown over the past 6, 8 months from at the beginning, the startup, to now kind of realizing like, okay, I'm at the grasp of this. I've got Patrick Mahomes wearing my shirt. Where can I take this? What should I do? What are my next steps? How have you continued to grow your own personal mindset with it all?
Not that I like ever took it like not seriously, but now that I'm seeing like the recognition that I'm actually getting for it, like the brand not vintage, it's like, okay, like now I need to learn about other aspects of business that I was never learned, just because right now I am a one-man team. There's no one else really helping me at all. Maybe one day out of the week my sister will help you kind of pre-treat a shirt here and there, but for the most part I'm doing all the editing, the marketing, the Instagram, sales, printing, and all that stuff. Right now I feel like the biggest thing, like maturity wise, was in the beginning when I was messing around, like I used to play Xbox a lot, you know what I mean, stay up. I could probably say I don't think I've had my Xbox connected probably since Thanksgiving now.
Hmm.
Like I haven't played any games since then. It's not like that I don't want to, it's just I think, should I play a game for a couple hours, or in my head, like I can make 2 edits and push it out for content tomorrow. And it's something I don't mind doing either. It's not like, it doesn't feel like a chore at all.
Yeah.
I've been involved in football my whole life. I've coached it, I've played. And this is not football in a sense, but like I get to directly be involved with, you know what I mean, the one sport that like taught me everything that I got me up to here.
That was literally about to take me into my question, was that connection when you said when stuff kind of ramped up and you're like, okay, I got to kick this in another gear over these last couple months. I kind of feel like that, like in essence with you and your football background, you know, when you kind of see something on the field and then you see it and then you're going to work hard to get it. That's just kind of a simple athletic trait that, you know, any solid athlete growing up would have in their head as their motivation. Kind of talk about that connection of having that now. Like, because you're kind of on your own in the not vintage right now, like you said, working by yourself as you are on the football, even though it's all on you to work out and get your training in and the nutrition and all that. Talk about those two overlays, because I know that's something I want to have when I get done playing ball, because I need to have that competitive drive and something in my future, because I don't know if I can't have that once the ball is gone, because it's tough. You know, that hole is tough.
Like that was something I kind of complained about for a while, was that not having that, there was something missing. You know what I mean? When I stopped playing, it's like competitive edge is missing. I fell into the routine of just working 10 to 8, 6 days a week, going home, work, you know what I mean? Just a routine. And it was like, I don't know, there was no competitive nature at all. There was nothing for me striving for.
Same thing every day.
Feeling. And now, like, I feel like it's the same thing as working out if you're not a sports person. Like, you know what I mean? The first time you see gains after a month of going to the gym, you're like, holy shit, it works. You know what I mean? And you want to keep on going. So, like, for me, like, so I live in Staten Island. I traveled about an hour every day to go to high school in North Jersey. At a big school named Bergen. So, like, I played in my division alone, I played against, like, Jabril Peppers, Minka Fitzpatrick. So seeing kids on my team, like one of my teammates is a quarterback for the Broncos right now, like third string right now, Jared Garantano. So I'm a quarterback myself, same grade. So like that's who I got to compete against every day in practice, was a 5-star dual threat quarterback. So that in its essence, having people around me that were not just bigger and better, but like true Division I prospects. And like every day I think that molded me into one of the person to like kind of football play, helped me get to college and play a little bit of ball too. And now I always tell my girlfriend, because like I say the same stuff all the time, like I base everything on my life based on football, and like subconsciously, like whether I know it or not, that's like honestly true. Like little things I don't even realize. I kind of like everything I've learned from 5 years old up until now, like all through that same sport.
Yeah, that's
foundation, man. It built you.
No, it's literally what we talked about on our phone call. 2.5 hours we're sitting there chopping it up about sports, talking about how football. I know for Joe and I talking before Gannon joined the call, like football in itself, what it's been able to do for us as individuals. And you talk about finding something once ball was done, once sports, like just the competitive nature.
It's tough, man. It's tough for the athletes that get done.
Oh, it is. And Gannon, you're about to face it, man.
That's what I'm saying. Because like I'm not even like totally super set on coaching, but like I'm looking, health wise, I can't keep playing with my eligibility, but I'm looking at GA next year because I'm 22 years old and I'm not ready to get off a field still. Like that's just like the reality of it, man. It's regardless if I'm on there or not, but impacting it at all, like that's still something that fires me up every day.
No, and Joe and I talked about it on the call. We said like, and even he just mentioned it, like once you are done, like filling that void, like we talk about youth sports and trying to inspire the youth, but like on their uprising into playing these games, once you get done with it, it is a shock. It is a shell shock trying to find that and fill the void. And Joe filled it with Not Vintage. I've filled it with 365 Unlimited. And that's just something that I think we do get from sports, whether what our work is, if it's ingrained within sports or not. I think just the competitive nature within us, the discipline and sports teach you, football especially. I mean, just the game in general, that what it's taught me has enabled us to have the possibility to build our own brands, build a successful environment, be with like-minded people, like just having that connection between us two. So like an interconnected question within all of that I have for you, Joe, is starting Not Vintage, where it's at now, where do you see this thing going in the next 5 to 10 years? Or not necessarily where do you see it going, but where would you like it to get to? Now, you've seen Patrick Mahomes now. Where are we going with this?
So I've always, for the past, so I broke even in January. Not Vintage as like the company, which my accountant told me was going to probably be a year, and then I broke
That's
it.
sick.
So when that actually did happen, I was like I didn't even realize I was getting to that number so fast, like that number to clear off that, not really debt, but like the overhead I had over the business.
Yeah.
Since I hit that, I'm like I didn't expect that at all. So like in the aspect of like everything that I'm gonna now make as profit with Not Vintage instead of buying toys and going buying all, like, you know what I mean? Like I told my mom, so she's planning on moving to Florida probably within a couple of months. I'm gonna stay back up north with my girlfriend, kind of work here a little bit with Not Vintage, build it a little bit more, and then hopefully go down south. But instead of buying all the toys and everything like that, any profit, I'm thinking about already another passive income that I can possibly get. Right now, I'm looking into FHA loans. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Basically, it's a first-time home buyer loan. You can kind of house hack. Basically, I live in a house for a year. I rent out the apartment after a year, leave, and I can now rent out that house, and that's just an asset with paying only 3% down. So, like, that's the kind of the big thing. Like, I never thought like this up until I started doing that. I mean, like, now that I can see that I can generate, like, I don't leave my room. Like, like I'm here all day. I print in the living room. That's where my studio is. I have my 2 computers set up in my living room, and like I'm seeing myself making money, like more than what I was making at my smoke shop job. My bedroom comfort, you know, I'm more comfortable. It's more fun for me. I would do agree though. Everyone that says it though, when you quit your 9 to 5 to work for your own job, you're gonna work 24/7.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing at all.
No, especially it's not a bad thing, especially when you find joy in it too. And like you're finding joy in it with these players, connecting with these players in a game that you've grew up always loving. And like another thing they tell you is if you're doing a job that you love, it's not work at all. And regardless of that 24 hours, 7 days a week on the clock, you can't beat it, man. I mean, can't beat it.
That's kind of, before I ask another question, that's kind of my point too. Like you're saying, to build off of that, it's just like for the youth or like younger people out there that are so involved and like love sports to death. Like there is stuff moving forward that when you're done, or if you can't keep playing, you know, something happens off the field, whatever going up, there is stuff to keep you around the game, media content. There's so many influence. There's anything you want to do. Like that's my degree right now, is sports management. If you want to go to college, if that's your thing, like there's so much. There's degrees now for like businesses in sports management, anything, sports agencies. Like if you want to do it, do it. And that's, I think, kind of the cool thing that's brought Joe, Bryce, and myself all together. We all got different stuff going, but it's all under sports. And I think that's the cool thing, because that's what I wanted to do growing up, was just, if I couldn't play, I wanted to be involved. No matter what it is, I had to be involved growing up. And that's the cool thing about it. But just talk about the raw emotion, man. Like the NFL players, like, a couple guys right away putting the shirts on, Quinn Williams, just some of those big guys. But then it's just your sheer, like, you know, if you tell yourself this when you're 10 years old, that like you got a shirt company and NFL guys are wearing your shirts, like that's just a raw emotion. Like just talk about that. It has to be so dope. Like you got to take a step back every now and then and be like, wow.
Like sometimes I'm taken by surprise, especially when like Malik Hooker never told me he's gonna post and shout me out. So like I just woke up one morning with like I was like, damn, it's a lot going on right now, and I just see, I was like, oh no way. And then me scouring the internet, saw another video of him rocking it, and I was like, damn, this is pretty fire. But I don't know, like I'm a diehard football fan. It's the only sport I've ever played before. I've coached it for almost 5 years of my life, 6 years of my life. Like I think it's football for me. So like I want to be a fanboy so bad at the same time. But at the same time, I'm not Joe Maz. I'm not Vintage talking to these guys. But for the most part, like every single guy that I talk to, like 99% of the time, they're all down to earth. Like me, always like looking up like, oh, like those are NFL players. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to give me the time and day. Like meanwhile, I'm chopping it up with Mike White from the Jets, and he's explaining to like me like why he threw up parts in the air to the stands. I'm like, this is mind-boggling right now to me. I really do
The
appreciate.
legend.
Yeah, like them being very, very like super down to earth. Like, I mean, I chop it up with a lot of like, I think was it yesterday? Out of nowhere, Marcus May hits me up. So I'm a big I'm Jet fan, so I've been a big Marcus May fan for a little bit now. So he hits me up, wants some shirts. So I was like, all right, like because I talked probably like November-ish, and we haven't spoken since. So I was like, all right, if you have any more pictures, I could probably come up with something a little bit more better. And he just sends me his phone number, and I'm like looking around, like text him like, yo, it's Joe from Not Vintage. He's like, yo, what's going on, brother? How's everything going? Like we start chopping it up. And like to me, I'm like, damn, like last 2 years ago, I was at MetLife Stadium watching you play, and now you're texting. You know what I mean? Like it's little things like that. Like when you actually step back and actually really think about it, like this past weekend was probably like the biggest weekend for me. As the owner of Not Vintage, seeing that the way it went down was pretty sick. But I think I'm getting used to it. Not used to it, but like I'm not running around the house screaming like a little kid anymore when it used to happen in the beginning.
Well, I think something that I've noticed, because obviously people that tap into our show by now know that Gannon and I have worked for Dez, Personal Corner, that type of stuff, have met Dez, have met Trayvon Diggs. So, like, I can see, I know what you're saying. And, like, that's the
It's like it happens and then it kicks in. You're like, okay, now this is what we're here for. Like it's kind of like a
Well, and that's what I'm gonna say is like once you do that and like you get in that room, like you start to realize like I belong in this damn room. Like it hits you and it's like a metaphoric thing kind of in a way, like you texting Marcus May, like you belong in that space. Like that's your space. You earned that space. Like you worked for that space. Like not everyone gets to do that. Especially like if you come from a different place, no matter who you are, like not everyone gets an opportunity to text with Marcus May. Not everyone gets an opportunity to see Patrick Mahomes rocking their t-shirts or make a shirt for Harrison Phillips in honor of DeMar Hamlin. Like that just doesn't happen. And like I'm gonna give you your flowers, man, because like the work that you put in obviously shows. And there's not a lot of people in today's society that know how to put that type of work in. And that's something that Gannon and I have spoke on within the sports world, participation trophies, and just lifestyle in general. All right, so what is some advice that you have to a kid that is sitting at home? We ask this question to pretty much every interview that we do, sports-based or not, entrepreneur-based, whatever it is. What's some advice you have? Pretend you're that 10-year-old kid sitting at home. What's some advice you would give to yourself as a 10-year-old kid, or just even advice to any kid right now that has a passion, has a dream, and wants to see it through?
For the most part, like I don't really like what ifs, but like if I were to go back and tell myself like a what if, or tell everybody like start something now. Like you know what I mean? It's not too late. Like I started it. I'm 25 this year at the end of August. Like for some people thinking like I should have a career by that time. You know what I mean? Like the traditional like all right, you have your 9 to 5, you have your career set like by that. Like I never graduated college. Like I dropped out. I was originally a photography major. I bounced around doing little jobs and then kind of I always wanted to freelance. I was always that person that was at 9 to like cliche, like I'm not going to work a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? And like that's the biggest thing too. Like you could say that, but you got to be willing to actually put in the work to not work 5. Like and like I said before, if you're going to quit your 9 to 5 to start something by yourself, you're going to work a lot on it. If you really do like it, like Bryce said, it's going to be worth it in the long run. But like you guys said, like you guys have something from you know what I mean? You guys started 365 from nothing, and now you have something. Like I started Not Vintage from my bedroom. Now we have something. Like just start something. You know what I mean? I tried things before I got to Not Vintage. That like I tried streaming for a little bit, competitive Madden. I tried other things. I've tried drop shipping. I tried, you know what I mean? Like you'll find your niche and what you like to do, and when you do like it, it becomes easier to grow on Instagram. It becomes easier to put out content. It becomes easier to brainstorm. You know what I mean? Like my sleeping schedule was screwed because how much work into this. And I don't mind it at all. Like I'll take a nap at like 7:30 at night, wake up at 12, and then be up at 6 in the morning working the same again.
Yeah, I was telling Gannon. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was telling Gannon like when I text you and like hit you up about information and getting stuff. Like I'll tell Gannon, I say, you know what, dude, I'm just gonna hit him up. I'll text him at like 2:30, 3 in the morning. And I
Yeah,
know
because like the first week or two,
You'll be
Bryce was like, I was like, yeah, dude, he's just sleeping right now, man.
I was like, I know he's gonna respond if I hit him up at 2:30, 3 in the morning. Like that's just the way it was. That's what my sleep schedule used to be over winter break. That's what it was. So
Not just over winter break. That's been your sleep schedule.
yeah, it's changed quite a bit lately with.
All right, man. I got another side note question. Who's going to be the Jets quarterback next year? Come on, I got to hear this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's getting honestly the offseason talks are getting scarier and scarier. But if I had a choice, I want Aaron Rodgers or Lamar.
There it is. Let's
Okay,
There it
that's a
is.
choice. Now let's hear the realistic who you think's going to be the starter next year.
shoot. I think it's realistic.
Dude, like I don't know. So like I have a lot of respect for Joe Douglas. I love him as a GM. I don't know. He's done a lot of stuff for the Jets that I'm kind of like mind blown. Like I don't know how you get this for that and this for this. So there's a couple of names. I don't even want to name them because I don't want to violate people in the league at all. But like this, I don't want it. Like you know what I mean? I don't really want like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll go that route. I think the only three routes that he'll go, I'll be happy with no matter what. I think that's either probably going to be Jimmy G, Aaron Rodgers, or Derek Carr.
I like Derek, man. I think the Saints are pretty hot on him. So
I think Derek Carr's going to the Commanders.
oh.
Colts need a quarterback too.
Yeah, Colts. I mean, there's a lot of teams.
I'm telling you
that
right,
would.
the Colts are going to be the trade with the Bears. The Colts
Yeah.
are going to go. They're going to go.
It's
draft
just who's
it.
going to play their cards now because you got to wait till April for Bryce Young and CJ. You know what I'm saying? Like those.
I'll
two
tell you why I think that before we continue with. We start talking football, man.
I know we get it.
It's messy, but like I say, the reason I'm saying Colts draft their quarterback, you just bring in their new head coach, a guy from Philly. Was he the quarterback's coach, right?
Yeah.
So you bring in that guy. He's gonna want young. He's gonna want to mold this guy.
No, I think the Colts want to draft.
So I think it's young. I think the Colts get young, and then for me, the reason I say Derek Carr to the Commanders is because I think within the next week you're gonna see Eric Bieniemy, the guy from the Chiefs.
Get a job
From the Chiefs. I think he's going to be Ron Rivera's OC.
Yeah, Rivera's talking a lot. It's just crappy. He's got to go get another job to get the head coaching job. That's just
it's terrible. That guy.
I was like, why would he? But he need to prove his offense works
because he wants to go, so he can be the play caller, which is so stupid because like they just signed Hackett last year to the Broncos and he never called a play for the Packers. But
it makes no sense.
That's coordinator now. I think we hired him and Todd Downing as the passing game coordinator.
Hackett's with the Jets?
Yeah, bro, they did that right away. It was, I think it's a PR move to get Rodgers. That's what I thought.
Yes, I did see that.
That was right away. That was like a week after he got fired.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, let's not drift too far apart. Like we started talking ball. That's how it was on the phone call. We started talking ball. You can't stop. But yeah, so I mean, I don't really have much left. I just think learning about you, who you are as a person, it's been great, man. Like I hope someday soon we get to link up in person and kick back and enjoy drinks and be able to talk about everything we've worked on the past couple of years, months in general, and just the build up of everything. It's been nice, man.
Maybe we'll go game. You come to New York and we'll go out to Dallas.
We definitely need an East Coast trip. We definitely need to plan an East Coast trip.
That sounds good to me. But yeah, I just want to, like I said, like keep doing you, man. Like what you got going on is special. I'm just blessed as an individual, not even just as a brand with 365. Like I'm blessed as an individual to not only know you, but to be able to work with you, collab with you, have you as a sponsor. I think your brand speaks for itself. Who you are speaks for itself. You got the open mindset. You got the drive. It's special to watch, special to see unfold, and I know you're gonna keep killing it, man. Like I hope the people that get to tap into this video understand that you can do anything you want to if you choose to. And like you said, Joe, start now. It's never too late. It doesn't matter how old you are, where you live, what you come from. If you want to start something now, that's the best time to do it, because the more you wait, the longer and longer it takes to just get rolling into it.
There's like a big stigma about like starting your own thing, or like, giving up on something to start your own thing, and like, I don't know, go for it. You know what I mean? Another like me, like I only have 2,400 followers on Instagram. For a lot of people in the business of brands and clothing brands, that's not a lot of followers at all. Like same as some personal accounts that I'm friends with. You know what I mean? And I have the MVP of the NFL, like wearing a shirt. Like you don't need 50,000 followers. You don't need 100,000 followers. You know what I mean? Like for me, I don't even care about the followers. I care about sales. You know what I mean? Over the followers. So like if you can network, I mean, there's so many tools now. Like your phone can either be a distraction or it could be the greatest tool. You know what I mean? Straightforward. Like I don't even go on my personal account no more. Like I go on there, post a story, and go right back to Not Vintage and everything, and see the networking, trying to create content. But I feel like if you find your niche and you do your own thing, I feel like one, it's either going to work out, but two, you don't need, like I said, you don't need to be a huge ass account to get these, like I'm saying, big players to recognize you.
100%.
I think like going off what you guys both said, what Joe said earlier about trying something, you named different things that didn't work for you, but like you kept trying. And I think that's the biggest thing I want to tell people is because you try something that doesn't work, that only tells you something good about yourself, and you find something out that you don't want to do or you don't like. So then you go and try and find something different going forward. I think that's the biggest thing I want to keep harping on people is just keep trying, because everything, your losses, your all those things are going to be lessons in the end to when you win it, to like now with Joe with Not Vintage. But man, it's been a blessing. I know as soon as we got off the call that night when Bryce and I were chopping it up right after we knew this was going to be sick, just the competitive drive, just getting fired up on the phone about your vision, our vision, like our different paths, but like also how similar we really are in this. I think it's just like anything's possible moving forward. Like we saw the vision even before stuff like super popped off these last couple months, and it's just been sick to see like people asking about us, just the shirts, like what do you got now for your shirt coming in, like just people are looking at it. It's really cool, and that's just us from afar being, you know, through you, and you're the starter of it all. And I just want to say thank you, and it's a blessing to know you, and we're gonna keep building this thing, man. It's dope going forward, and best of luck to you, because it's only going up. That's all I gotta keep saying. It's going up.
Both of us, we talked about that one night, and I kept on harping on the fact, like I could just see this, like as working together, kind of going bigger and bigger because of the niche that we both work in, and it's genuine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not really here to make millions of dollars with clothing. You know what I mean? For me, it was kind of like I originally started this like in the beginning, like I said, to make jet gear, and then when a third string tight end hit me up, and I was like, this is pretty cool. Like I want to pop the players that I mean, there's Mahomes at. If someone asks me, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
But for me, like reaching out in the beginning, like I loved reaching out to players that like I knew, not personally, but I knew from college watching them, or I knew from the ESPN 300s in high school that like, oh, they play for the Packers, or like, oh, they play for the Lions. He's a third string, he's a practice squad player. Let me hit him up, because usually their families want a lot of, you know what I mean? Like there's not that many people putting on for them. So like those were like the fun, like I think like the fun ones in the beginning, kind of building the brand, was kind of talking to everybody like that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is, and I think that even speaks what my last thing I want to say real quick is I just think the impact, like impact over money, impact over followers, impact over views. No matter if it's just one person that you leave an impact on with a T-shirt, someone smiles because they get to represent that. Well, one video that we post, someone smiles because they get to understand what they're going through. I think it's special. Without it, I mean, we're just human beings, man. We all fight the same battles. We all deal with the same things. We all chasing the same thing, and that's being successful. So continue to like, view, and subscribe these videos, man. We appreciate you guys tapping in. Joe, keep being you, man. We appreciate you. The T-shirts are fire. 365U for 10% off. Hit it at the checkout.